everyone, welcome to our Getting Creative series. So many of you might be carrying on with your Pilates, yoga and your fitness exercises whilst we're on lockdown, but you might be finding that some of the items that you could normally get at your gym or your studio you don't actually have at home. And so in this series we're going to be looking at a couple of alternatives that you could potentially use to help get you through this lockdown period. So today we're going to be looking at our spiky ball or our fascia ball. Usually we use this one to roll out the feet, sometimes before or after class. You can also use it to roll out other body parts and other muscles and other fascial lines. And I'm sure all of you will have come across one of these, particularly if you do Pilates. You've got the bigger ones, you've got slightly smaller ones, and then you have the softer versions as well. So these are items that you might well not have at home, although these yellow spiky balls, I have actually seen them on dog chew toys before. So you might get lucky, you might find that your dog's chew toy has one of these spiky balls attached to it somewhere, but you might also then have to fight for it with your pet. So, and also maybe decide whether or not you actually want to be using your dog's chew toy as your piece of equipment for the next little while. So if your dog doesn't have one of those, or if you don't have one of those, here are a few alternatives that I have found in my house. The first is a tennis ball. Really, really good. It's a really nice consistency or a nice sort of strength. And what is nice about it as well is you can use it on the rest of the body, so it's not too heavy. If it falls, it's not going to hurt your feet. It's not going to damage any wall that you're maybe, if you're putting it between your back and your shoulder, between your back and a wall. It's Friday today. You're not going to damage the wall, remove the paint or anything like that. So tennis ball is a really great option. Another two options which are slightly smaller. The first is a golf ball. Also a really nice option because it's nice and firm and light. But you do just want to be a little bit more gentle with the golf ball. Being a lot smaller and firmer, you are going to get a little bit deeper when you do your rolling out. So you want to just be aware of that because we don't want to bruise any muscles. And then next we have a squash ball. Our poor squash ball has reshaped itself. But it's also a little bit softer than a golf ball, and also quite nice and easy to use. Just do be careful if you're doing up against a white wall. You might get some of the black coming off, so do just be aware of that. Next up, we have, this is from a carpet ball set. So you might have a boule, you might have carpet ball, or you might have, there's an outdoor version as well that you can get. These are really heavy, so similar to a cricket ball or a hockey ball, which you could also potentially use. You don't really want to be using this one between your back and the wall. You want to keep it down on the ground because it is quite heavy. But yeah, it's nice and firm, it's a lovely size, and would absolutely do the job as would a hockey ball and a cricket ball. Then over here we have some things that if you have kids you might find that you have lying around the house. The first is a bouncy ball, so this is quite a big bouncy ball. Just be careful, if it is an old bouncy ball it might disintegrate. You also, if you put too much pressure along the seam, you can actually split them in half. So it is a nice option, they're nice and firm as well, but do just maybe check with your kids before you go breaking their favorite bouncy ball. Then we have marbles. So the first option, and I have not played with marbles in many years, so I do not know what the names of these are anymore, but you've got the bigger marbles, and I believe they even get slightly bigger than this. This is a nice size because it is bigger to be able to roll out with. A little bit heavy, so again you don't want to be using it up against a wall, rather keep it on the ground. Another option is to go with the slightly smaller marbles. Well, these are kind of like the in-between size marbles, so they're not the standard size ones. And what you could do is just have a couple of them, which you either, put on the floor to roll the feet out. It's actually really nice, even on the hand. Or you could put them, if you've got like a small Ziploc bag or something, you could just put a couple in there, and then rolling the foot or the leg or whatever it is out with that. Right, next up we have a weight. So if you do happen to have any weights lying around the house, this particular one is a sort of all-in-one weight. You do get weights where you have the bar and then the actual weight discs separate. Either of them will work. Not ideal for anything really other than your feet, but you can, put your foot on top and then roll out. Yeah, not as versatile as some of the other options that we have here, but will still work well for your feet if you are needing. And then the last item, which I found and have actually used before and found really helpful, is a deodorant or hairspray can. You can also use, if you use any of the dry shampoo that comes in a can as well. I wouldn't recommend using a deodorant can or a deodorant stick that is plastic, and obviously absolutely nothing that's metal. That's glass. I also wouldn't advise you using a can or tin that is like a Coke can or a food tin, just because they are more likely to crush, because they don't necessarily have the same pressure buildup as a deodorant can or a spray can would have. So this is a small little hairspray can. You can take the lid off because the lid is more likely to crack if you roll over it. But the rest of the can itself, as long as you don't put your full body weight on top of it, you should be absolutely fine. You can try use it up against a wall. It's a little bit awkward, not as useful or easy to use as a tennis ball, but definitely worth giving it a try if you don't have any of the other options available to you. Cool, thank you so much for joining this little session, and I hope you have found something amongst all of this that you are able to use at home. And if you have, cool, enjoy your exercises ahead and stay tuned and subscribe to see our future videos. Thanks, bye.